Hello, and welcome to episode 35 of On Second Thought with Mike and Matt. Coming to you live Wednesday, June the 18th. Just a few precious days left of spring, Matt. Where has the time gone?
Just like everything else, it's gone. It's just gone. Time is fast and fleeting.
So true, so true. It is summer is going to make its grand appearance here starting tomorrow. They already have heat warnings in place. It's going to be, mid 90s for a good stretch here of days, and with that comes thunderstorms, and I know you're bracing for maybe some of those tonight, which means we get them tomorrow. That's how the weather pattern usually goes. But yeah, it is spring has came and went pretty soon here. All the winter spring sports will be done. Hockey finished up last night, basketball maybe tomorrow, and then it will be baseball's time to shine. And boy, our Reds and Red Sox, something to write home about. Let me tell you that. Well,
they're on fire.
Red Sox actually are on fire, but they traded one of their best players, and I don't know how you feel about these things, Matt. I don't care if the owners spend $1 or all their dollars. I just want wins. I don't care how we get there. I've been reading way too much time reading online about this Devers trade that the Red Sox made, and everybody's like, "Oh, we had to get that contract off our books." Excuse me, off our books? Your books? This is impacting your financial life? Excuse me? These are millionaires. Like I say this line all the time. If you were burned on the side of the road, they wouldn't even stop to put you out. So let's not convolute the message here that this is somehow your money. It's nothing to do with your money. Zero. And again, for me, it all comes down to wins and losses. I don't care if you spend $1 or all your dollars. I just want to win.
Yeah. Yeah, I understand too. When there's unfortunately, baseball is not like it used to be, where players would stay with the team, for almost forever. There's constantly trading and that going back on and forth and out. These contracts, free agency, all that stuff. So yeah, you're hoping that these teams are doing the right decisions when they get rid of possibly a fan favorite or someone who is up and coming, and they don't think they're going to be able to afford them in the next couple of years or something, so they get rid of them now where there's still value. And like you said, hopefully it's all to better the team and bring home a championship. The one thing I get tired of hearing about year after year with the Reds, though, is, well, we're rebuilding. We're rebuilding. Motherfuckers, the fucking world was built before you guys are be done rebuilding. I mean, what the fuck?
Now, I don't know quite the jobs in your line of work that I could equate this to, but as I'm explaining this, try to think of it through the lens of your own work, okay? Your boss comes to you and says, you're a putrid third baseman. We're going to sign this other third baseman. You're still keeping your job, and all you've got to do is hit. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Now, Matt says, I've worked long and hard. I went to college, all this to be a putrid third baseman, but now you're telling me I only got to do half the work and I'm still going to get paid? Let me think about that. Let me throw a little bit of a fit, come back to you. All right. I'll be your DH. Okay?
Yeah, I'd be all over that.
Now, this other young kid that they hired on your team to play first base got hurt. And they're going back to you, Matt, the putrid third baseman, and they're saying, you're so bad at third base, now we want you to learn a new position and play first base. Because you were so excellent at third base that we got someone else to replace you. Now we want you to play first base in the middle of a year so we can bring up someone else from the minors that they can DH. And so Devers pretty much told the Red Sox, you can go fucking sit and spin. I'm the big, the big guy on this team. I'm the face of the team. you're not freaking dangling me around all these positions. You said I wasn't a good enough fielder to play third. You moved me to DH. The guy at first base got hurt. Now you want me to play first base. I've never played that before. You set me up to fail.
It's just a mirrored base, man. It's just, first base and third base. Come on.
Yeah. Different glove, different cutoff man, different, So anyways, the Red Sox could not get through to Devers, and he was traded to the Giants. Giants took all the money. Red Sox don't have to pay any of it. And
nice.
That's what we got back was kind of inconsequential because the Giants took the whole contract on. And what does Devers say as soon as he gets to San Fran?
I'll play first base.
I'll play wherever you want me to. Right? Because they were up front with him from the beginning. Hey, you come here, you're going to have to play here or there. That's fine with me. And the Red Sox got a lot of problems right now, even though they are winning, but they're winning like 3-1, 2-0. These kids they got up from the minors have some like collective batting average of like 154 or 159 or something like that. Really putrid numbers. But anyways, enough baseball talks. My whole point was that spring has finished springing, and now we're into summer.
Yeah, it's going to be a hot one this weekend. Head out to the farm, and man, it's going to be a hot, humid one out there. No AC out there. Might have to get the kiddie pool out and fill it with water, soak in it.
My brain has a problem with summer, specifically because of weeds. Okay, I like a nice, neat, tidy space. Okay, and everything in life. I like things neat and orderly and tidy. And I drive around everywhere. And I understand the cities don't have enough money to pay people. Even if they did, we live in a more rural environment. They just let shit grow lush. You could see like a Last of Us situation. If, if shit really went wild and there was no money to do any sort of trimming, the roads would get encapsulated with all these weeds, these vines. I don't know what the names of these vines are, man. Maybe they're just called vines, but they grow straight up and they stick out of everywhere. And they'll take over your whole property if you don't take care of it.
Yeah, I hate walking down the sidewalk, even here in our subdivision, all that. When you walk down the sidewalk and there's weeds and grass growing up between the cracks in the sidewalk and people's driveways and stuff. It's like, get there and clean that shit up, man. Get rid of that stuff. What are you doing? Yeah, and then along the highways, along those, the concrete barriers and that, there's grass and shit growing up and weeds. It's like, come on. Yeah, it does. It makes everything look bad.
Yeah, and those guardrails, right? I understand they can't, highways, road, big route, like I have 117 is out here in front of me. And you got to shut those down for safety reasons to have someone tend to those weeds, right? You just can't have some guy going out there in cars whizzing by them, right?
Yeah, they do it all the time. When they don't shut highways down here for mowing grass on the highways.
Well, not on the sides, like the where the grass is, but I'm saying the guardrails. The grass is growing on both sides of the guardrails and up through the guardrails. Right? They don't do anything to those. And I pull out the end. I have to pull out at the end of my street to go to take the left onto 117, and now I can't see because the weeds are, taller than my car. I mean, what do I got to do, man? I got to go out there myself with all I want to do. And you ever see that scene in Game of Thrones? I'm not sure, you not finishing things,
I finished Game of Thrones.
From games to movies to books. That scene at the wall in Game of Thrones where they had the big, what's that thing called? The sickle come down or whatever it is?
Yes.
I just wanted to have
that. So what do you want to do?
I just want
Well, you're getting in close with the town officials and stuff at the dump of that. Maybe you can get some pool there that you can, get them to mow around the weeds and stuff.
Oh my God! I had a big to do at the town dump the other day. I was trying to throw away an all paper filter from my air conditioning unit into the paper recycling. Okay. So one of those, thin, all paper.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Threw a couple of them in, get in my car, and I see this little nerdy guy running across, beep, 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 with the friggin' fluorescent yellow shirt on. He pretty much dived into the dumpster and fished these things out and like pretty much like threw them at me. You can't be throwing those in there. And I'm not sure, not to my credit, whatever the opposite of to my credit is, I was not in a good mood. And I was not having it. He could have said you won $1,000 and I would have been like, what? You know, I was not in the mood to talk to anybody at this particular moment. Mm-hmm. And he came charging at me and I was like, you motherfucker, I know it's not him, but he was taking the brunt of my frustration. You've raised the property taxes. Overnight, you've raised the cost of the bags I have to buy at the dump to throw my trash away. Now when I go to the dump, I can't even put stuff like in a swap meet area. You know, I just, I lost it on him. He's like, I don't appreciate you swearing at me. And I was like, oh, fuck, too well.
too fucking bad, motherfucker.
Yeah. And I tell you, I went to the dump a week, it was a week later I went to throw my trash out last Saturday. And all three guys in the booth came out. Because the guy was saying to me the other day, he's like, I'm just trying to help you out. He's like, I got you on camera. I'm just trying to prevent you from not getting a fine.
Did you say, okay, go on.
And so I'm thinking to myself, maybe the first thing you said, hey, buddy, I know you come here a lot. You follow the rules and regulations. I just want to, give you a heads up on this. Instead of fishing those things out and like kind of throwing them at me,
Yeah.
But his last closing argument was, I don't appreciate you swearing at me. I just wanted to help you out. You're on camera. I don't want you getting a fine. So
you can't throw your paper filters in with, what are you throwing with all the other paper stuff or recyclable stuff? So
he says it's got to go in the trash. He goes, you can't put those in with the paper. It's got to go in with the trash. And I was like, but they don't fit in the trash bags that I buy. I don't have a lot of trash. I do a lot of recycling. I just have the small size bags that they sell. These things won't fit in the small bags. Then I got to spend $25 to get a package of 5 bags. 5 bags for $25. 33-gallon bags. So I went.
Christ.
So last Saturday, I found everything that I ever wanted to throw out in my house. Dog shit, fucking, spoiled food, air filters, anything and everything. I friggin' loaded that bag up.
So everything has to be in a bag, like those filters. Since you couldn't just like carry them in, and just toss them in there.
No, not anymore.
I am so glad I don't fucking have to deal with this shit. Because I would be in my backyard burning my garbage instead of dealing with the shit you have to go through. I could not. There's no way I could function like this with my garbage.
Yeah, all garbage has got to be in a bag. There's no like loose garbage, going into the trash compactor, and no using your own bags. You got to buy their bags. Now you don't have to use that service. You don't have to do the town. You could hire a company to come and pick up your trash. There's plenty of people in my neighborhood that hire a regular trash company.
Yeah.
And they give you the barrels just like you have, one for recycling and one for trash.
Yeah.
And you can put that out at the end of your curb.
Mm-hmm.
But my driveway's a half mile long. What am I going to do? Fucking wheel these. By the time I get the barrels to the end of the road, my barrels are the wheels on those things are going to be broken off. And what am I going to do? But go buy a pickup truck or go buy a Kubota or something to put the trash on the back to,
Yeah, rig up something with your mower and bring them back and forth.
The problem with my driveway, not my immediate driveway, but the rest of the driveway is so scalloped or whatever you call it. My motor would bottom out in the middle because the grooves are so worn out. But yeah, no trash in the trash compactor unless it's in a town bag.
Crazy.
And then all the other recycling, you got to do it's no one stream recycling. You got to separate it all. Glass in one area, plastic in one area, paper in another.
Yeah, it all goes in one bin. All my paper, glass, cans, cardboard, all in the one bin there. Guy comes by, dumps it in the truck.
Enjoy that while it lasts. I'm not sure how much longer the country will be able to do that anymore. China's not buying our recycling and trash like they used to, and all these other things. It's costing more to recycle. We might all be burning our trash at some point.
Dump it in the ocean. There's plenty of room there.
Oh my God. Don't get me started. Please, Matt. Don't fucking wind me. I'm telling you. I'm a tempest in a teapot. Do not fucking wind me up about fucking ocean dumping and cruise boats. We'll go off on a whole other tangent for fucking hours. Serenity now. Speaking of serenity, this is really what this is. You know the reason why I was so upset last Saturday when I went to the dump. I've been applying for jobs, which is a stressful thing unto itself, and I had a assessment to do prior to getting like interviews. So it was like you apply, they come back to you saying, "Yep, we like your application." Before we do an interview, you got to do some sort of assessment. So I did an online assessment. Now, as I'm doing the online assessment, I think you texted me, my mother texted me, and then all of a sudden, the fucking Windows notifications going off, like Gears of War Reloaded. Here's your code. Other things are just popping off. I needed 21 fucking minutes of sweet, and Lynn is not empathetic to this all. She's like, "Why didn't you turn your phone off?" And I said, my phone was here to give me some sort of notes to look at because I didn't know what this assessment was. I had some sort of, job aid, job notes to look at to help me out during this process. Oh, it wasn't the Gears of War thing that went off at that time. Someone was hacking my Microsoft account. So like you were texting me, my mother was texting me, and then fucking I was getting notifications that someone was trying to get into my Microsoft account. Oh, I was fucking chewing nails by the time I got done with that. And then I tried to, get some empathy from upstairs. But why did you turn your phone off? Tell you why I didn't turn my phone off.
Aren't you glad I'm one of those people that, when I text you, like 30 seconds later, I couldn't even respond yet. What are you doing? 30 seconds later, oh, I see how it is. You're just going to ignore me.
Why do you got me on red or whatever it's called?
Yeah, well, I see you starting to type and then it goes away. What are you doing?
Oh. And then I had to do the drive down to the party down in the family party, which we definitely will not get into.
Did you swing on in?
Swung on in, swung on out. Passed it all about. Good Lord. Wrong with people. Too much free time on their hands.
I'll try to be more careful when I text you.
No, don't worry about it. No one wants to hire me. You don't have to worry, Matt. No one wants to hire me anyway. So you didn't do any damage.
You didn't finish your story. You said the three guys came out of the booth.
Oh, they just came out of the booth, all crossed their arms, like they were trying to intimidate me. I was like, you fucking country bumpkins got to get up a lot early in the morning to intimidate this asshole.
You just go in there one day, just like your shirt off and shit, just boots or something.
I just make sure that I show up every day for recycling, so they don't think that this motherfucker is like scared or intimidated or anything. I'm there every day that I can throw trash away. I don't even care if I have nothing. If they're open Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday. That's the other thing that you wouldn't like. You can't go every day. You only can go on certain days for certain hours. Wednesday 1 to 7, Friday 1 to 4, and I think Saturday 8 to 3.
Fuck that shit, man.
I would roll. You would roll in angry anyways, right? Even if you were just throwing trash away, you'd roll in angry.
Yeah, I would hate to have to spend my Saturday going to the dump and then deal with these fuckers with, you got a piece of glass there where the can goes, or that's not in the bay. You can't throw it away. I would say fuck it, throw it on the ground, just get the fuck out, and just fine, fucking sue me. Go fuck yourself. I would have been like, all right, I'm going to fucking get a service and do it instead. It's all going in the same goddamn landfill.
Exactly. No one's recycling any. I say this to Lynn all the time. No one. I go, our conscience is clean because we're recycling this stuff properly. But I'm telling you, none of this shit's getting recycled. None of it is. It's sitting somewhere in a warehouse or in a landfill somewhere.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
They tell me that. They tell me the only thing that really gets recycled right away is glass.
Mm-hmm.
That's the stuff that they still want people to recycle more than anything is glass. That will get recycled.
Glass and aluminum cans, I think. Aluminum's a big one too, I think. So
Yeah. All right. Some happier stuff. It feels like it's been forever since the Switch 2 release, but we last did an episode a couple hours before I was heading out to pick up the Switch 2.
Yeah.
And I was really shocked, man. I was shocked at the amount of people that were there. And you probably saw pictures online or read stories by now.
Yep.
But there had to be 200 or 300 people in the non-pre-order line. And when I got there just a little bit before midnight, in the pre-order line, there was maybe 10 or 15 people in front of me. And then it filled into maybe about 75 people, all said and done. Everybody that was there got a Switch. I mean, Nintendo needs a big, big congratulations on having the stock in hand. Anybody that wanted a Switch that acted within the first couple days got one. I don't think you can just walk into a store now and get one. I see pictures online, people posting it.
Yeah, I see here and there. Yeah.
But, congratulations to Nintendo for doing it right, sticking it to the scalpers. They're not making any money. Anybody that wanted one, that put some effort in, got one.
Nice.
And so hopefully, Sony, Microsoft learn from that. They said they sold 3.5 million units in 1 week.
That's pretty good.
And they would have sold more if they had more.
If they had more. Mm-hmm.
And it's the fastest selling console ever. I think that means absolutely nothing. I think if that was Sony or if that was Xbox and they had the all those manufactured as well, they would have sold just as fast. I think people want these devices, a lot going on in the world. I think Nintendo does have some what's the right word I'm looking for? Nintendo has a wider audience. There was a wide diversity of people in line. Not just the usual white male gamer. There was grandmothers there. There was a lot of women there. There was kids with their parents there. A lot of different races. It was a wide swath of types of people there. And yeah,
nice.
So it went pretty orderly. I was not thrilled that they had these like patches or coins that you could get. Nintendo was giving them out. I didn't think it was fair. Maybe people on the other side that didn't pre-order, maybe they would have a different take. But I didn't think it was fair that they gave out patches and coins to people who didn't pre-order. And then when they were giving them out to the pre-order people, they weren't giving out like one to the party that was waiting in line. So there was some people that had some support people with them. They weren't buying anything, but they didn't want to sit in the line by themselves. You know what I mean? So let's say you were going to the pre-order event and you bought Barb and Christopher with you, but you're only buying one unit. You know what I mean? They gave, in that situation, they would give you guys 3 coins. I think you should get.
Yeah.
I think you should get one.
One per console.
And so therefore I didn't get anything. I pre-ordered. At the end of the day, what the fuck am I going to do with a patch and a coin? But
it's kind of weird that the people that didn't pre-order get that.
Yeah. They were in their own separate line, separate register, and we were in our own separate line, separate register, and it went as orderly as possible. I think it took me about 45 minutes to an hour to get through. Because they still let you did some not shopping in the store, but they let you buy games and accessories that they had for sale. All in all, it went as smooth, and you probably can't hear because of my good microphone, but the family's going nuts upstairs right now playing Mario Kart World. It has once again galvanized the family. It's our 4th generation of playing Mario Kart. We started on the Wii, the Wii U, the Switch, and now the Switch 2. Yeah, it's good times. Everybody's together. So yeah, you can play up to 4 people at one time, but all the races have 24 drivers. So it's just chaos. It's constant. It's constant, hitting other people hitting you with the power-ups. It's pretty good time.
Nice.
Any FOMO on your end or no?
Nah, not at all. Nah, I mean, there's nothing there for me. I still got my Switch Lite where I can play my Mario and Zelda on it. So yeah,
Without
there's
without the kids, they talking about it at all or no?
No, they haven't. I'm surprised. Christopher hasn't said anything about it. His mind's been on other things, but yeah, no, I don't think there's any interest to get one. I'm sure one of them in passing, if they see one in a couple of months or something, whatever, or in a year, they see one, they'll probably pick one up. But yeah, neither one's like itching to go out and buy one.
Well, I'm itching to get one for myself, or at the very least, Matt, what I want to do is get a dock for down here, because when they're up there watching TV and not playing, I could just bring it down here, or get my own. I noticed a few scratches on the screen already.
Oh no!
This is why I like to. It gets back to the opening. I like neat and tidy things.
Mm-hmm.
Why do I got to have my shit all gummed up and have scratches on it?
Yes, I like everything clean. Like I got my screen protector on this. I got a little case on it to keep things nice and good and steady. I keep it clean. I keep it in this case. I got all my shit down here. It's nice and clean and orderly. Yeah. Nothing pisses me off more if I go out in the garage to the workbench and all my shit's scattered all over the place because a certain kid of mine won't put shit back or just fucks everything up. It's like this ain't your fucking shit. Well, stop touching it.
I think shit is the operative word today. I was out there attempting to mow the lawn.
Mm-hmm.
It ultimately proved to be too wet for the zero turn. Because I keep the zero turn in the garage, it's under the house. It would stink up the whole house full of grass. So I only did the sort of preliminary area with the walk behind. And I start walking out there. There's a ton of dog shit in the front of the house.
Oh.
Get on the phone, texting. Hello? Never again. You let the dog out and the dog shits, you pick it up. I should not be out here mowing around piles of dog shit. Now this was never a problem before. When my dog was younger, I just take her into the woods and she just do her business.
Now
she's a very, very hard time getting around now. She's lucky she can get down two steps outside. So I get it. She's got to go, but pick up after her, please. And I think that ruffled some, as you were probably aware of, Matt, when you talk to your 20-year-old or 20 or however old your sons are, and you call them out on things, dad becomes the enemy. And so now, after dinner, I went to go play some Mario Kart with my two other boys, and I heard my wife and son talking in hushed tones and blah 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 blah. I ruffled some feathers by saying, and so I guess the tone was, well, it's not my dog. I'm doing you guys a favor by, if you guys are going out, taking the dog outside. So if the dog goes to the bathroom while I'm doing you a favor, I expect you guys to go pick up the poop, not me, who's doing you a favor. Which conversely, I would say, well, I'm paying fucking $34,000 to fucking send you to college. So the turnaround favor is to pick up the fucking dog shit.
Exactly. That's what I say to the kids. What do I get out of this? You get to fucking live here is what you get. You get to eat our goddamn food is what you get. If you don't like it, you should go find someplace else. Yeah, what do I get out of it? You get to live here.
I know we probably weren't much better in that age either, but here we are.
Exactly. Circle of life.
Getting back, we're going to do a deeper dive with Los at some point, but I'd say there was a lot of talk before the Switch 2 coming out that the excitement was low. Didn't know how this was going to sell. My experience in person was the complete opposite. The amount of sales has been the complete opposite of that. And it very much is just an iterative jump, in my opinion, which is fine. And it's, I think it's where we are in gaming right now. Maybe gamers are not looking for some sort of new wild experience. I think we've gone through the motion controls and the VR, and that's had its time and place. But when it all comes down to it, we're just looking for a stable, steady gaming experience, either docked or undocked, and that's what they're giving you. They're giving you a much better experience than the Switch. So yeah, we'll take a deeper dive with Los, but my quick analysis is it's a very good system. Very interesting playing Cyberpunk on it. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But yeah, the Mario Kart world looks fabulous. Fabulous.
Nice.
Anything else we need to we're going to get into a little bit about the Xbox showcase. But one little nugget that came out of that is next year is the 25th anniversary of the Xbox.
That's crazy.
If you really want to, we talk about where did spring go? Like where did those 25 years go?
No shit, dude.
Did you have an OG
Good
Xbox?
Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, Bar bought it for me for Christmas one year. Yep.
Yeah. So they say there's big things in store for next year. Talking the new Gears will come out next year. E-Day. There should be a new Forza. I think Fable will be out by then. So these are all classic Xbox titles. And then I think they're even hinting at yet another remaster or reimagination of Halo Combat Evolved. They didn't outright come out and say that, but they did say there'll be one title that's been with us from day one, and that's Halo Combat Evolved. So,
okay,
something to look forward to. I'm sure Xbox will not beat us over the head with this 25th anniversary. I'm sure it'll be very subtle, man. Don't you think?
Just like the Reds and Pete Rose right now, very subtle.
Are they selling any of the ashes?
Oh, for Christ's sake, dude. Get your pendant with little Pete Rose blood in it. Heals everything.
Tito's a big fan of him, though. Does Tito have a Pete Rose tattoo yet?
Not yet.
Is he riding
waiting for it.
Is he riding a Pete Rose scooter?
I haven't seen him riding a scooter. I haven't been any pictures of him riding scooters around or anything.
Maybe they told him to stop that because he's not in the greatest health.
Yeah. Doesn't not much action comes from him. He's really mellowed out.
It is really wild that the Red Sox and the Reds are almost the same record. You guys are 38 and 35. We are 39 and 37.
Yep.
But still, that still only gets you in the second to last place in the division.
I know.
Isn't that something?
Yeah. Need to get rid of some teams.
Well, who was I reading? Was it Cincinnati? Or maybe it was the Kansas City teams. They passed some sort of I don't know if it's legislation or financials to keep to try to keep the Chiefs and the Royals in Missouri rather than having them move over the border to Kansas.
Or did they pass that?
I thought they were. I don't know if it got passed or someone proposed it.
I know they're having issues. I don't know if both teams are wanting it or if just the Chiefs' new stadiums. I'm not sure. I mean, they just redid a bunch of Kauffman Stadium a few years ago. They just redid it. Well, I say a few years ago, but it's probably been maybe 5-10 years where they redid a bunch of that, redid a bunch of the remodeling of that. And
I know
I don't know how
the Red Sox broadcasters always rave about Kauffman Stadium.
Oh, I think it's a beautiful looking stadium.
Yeah. They said it was a very difficult stadium to play in the 80s when it got so hot on that AstroTurf.
Well, yeah, all of them stadiums. The Riverfront was goddamn steam bowl.
Yeah. But Cincinnati's having a lot of problems, specifically the Bengals, with the rookie. And I heard that they're trying to resume talks now with your other guy.
I'm so tired of hearing about Trey Hendrickson. He goes
It's all
well,
for
I'm not going
God.
to play. I'm not going to play.
It's
I'm not going to play. And then he said, well, yeah, I'll go ahead and play on my contract. Okay, I'll go. I'll do it. No, I'm not going to do that. No, I'm not going to play. It's like, motherfucker. He's. I hate that shit.
I can't be pro owner, Matt. I can't be pro owner. I got to be the player. I got to think of the worker. He's thinking, hey, I put the time in. I understand he's got a year left, right? Is that what he's got, a year left?
A year left, yes.
And they haven't negotiated. And what these guys don't like to play when there's only 1 year left, because if you get hurt or whatever, blah, 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 then you could be up shit's creek without a paddle because you don't have another contract in hand. Is that essentially why guys don't like to play on a like a lame duck situation?
Probably, but I think, in my opinion, all these players should be playing by year, because you get these long-term contracts. You get these long-term contracts, and then it's like, all right, it's a totally opposite thing what you just said. All right, well, hell, I just signed a 5-year contract, guaranteed $275 million. Fuck it, I ain't gonna go out and hurt myself. I'm just gonna sit back and relax and collect the money.
No, football's not guaranteed. I mean, more and more of the players are getting more guaranteed money.
They're guaranteed. That's guaranteed.
No.
Joe Burrow's got $275 million contract guaranteed.
Few and far between. Guys like Burrow, Lamar, guys like that. But I'd say 95 plus, if not more, are not guaranteed. They get the signing bonus and they get things like that are guaranteed. But the year in and year out, you all of a sudden fucking pull a hammy and you can't recover from it, they'll cut your ass right then and there. Football is one of the only sports. Now, baseball, fully guaranteed. Basketball, hockey, all fully guaranteed. Football is slowly getting that way. There's, the big guys are negotiating those things, fully guaranteed deals. That's why the owners hate the guy in Cleveland for giving that fully guaranteed contract to the friggin'
Deshaun.
Yeah, Watson. Yeah. He kind of started that whole trend of fully guaranteed contracts.
It's I think it's more than what you think. Football, it's got guaranteed contracts.
Go to the Google machine. While we go to commercial, go to the Google machine and look that up.
but yeah, they should be. And then, all right, you do this, you get extra money, you get bonuses. Because you get a long contract. It's like, all right, fuck it, I'm going to sit back and relax. Just like what you just said. Who's going to go right out there and fuck their hamstring up if they're not going to get anything? They're going to go out and they're going to play it easy.
It is. It is human. There's human nature definitely gets involved. Some guys says, "No, you rewarded me, and I'm going to bust my hump, and I'm thankful for the money, and now I want the accolades. I want the Super Bowl rings. I want the MVPs. I want to go down as one of the greatest ever." And you'll have those segment of the guys. Then you'll have
that. Yes.
And then you'll have the dogs. I'm not A+ talent. I'm somewhere between C+ and B-, and you just gave me a fat contract. I'm just going to go middle of the road and be the steady Eddie. Not going to give you any more, give you any less. And yeah, so there's certainly some guys that dog it.
Yeah. I'm trying to look up.
There's approximately 57% of the total money in NFL contracts is guaranteed. So
there you go.
So definitely higher than I thought. 57%. Compensation in a player contract can be guaranteed for 1, 2, or all or none of the guarantees subject to rules. If money in a player contract is protected for skill, cap, and injury, that money is fully guaranteed at signing will be paid to the player. So it's trending. It's not quite at 100% like the other sports, but it's trending that way. And certainly the big guys get all those signing bonuses that are fully guaranteed, and then they put behavioral clauses in your contract where they can pull some of that money back if you do some stupid stuff.
That was a big thing years ago. Remember all them Bengals players were getting in trouble for shit and doing stuff. All of a sudden the Bengals started putting in the contracts behavioral things, and you can't talk bad about the Bengals. It's back when the Bengals were doing horrible and players were bad mouthing ownership and all that stuff. They put stuff in the contracts about that. Oh yeah, it was a big thing.
What are your thoughts, Matt, at work about being micromanaged?
I can't stand it.
So
absolutely hate it.
So let's go back to football. I'm not sure if you've heard this story yet, but Jim Irsay of the Colts died and has given control of the team to his 3 daughters. They all have specific roles within the organization, but one has the head role. Mm-hmm. And she has decided to wear a headset and have the play sheet in front of her.
And there goes the Colts.
And she says, I encourage more owners to do this. You pay these players and GMs all this amount of money. You should be empowered to know whether these people are full of shit or not. What do we think of her on the sideline with the headset or in her booth?
Totally stupid.
With the play sheet.
Stay in your lane. Stay in your lane as an owner. Okay, you hire these people to do this shit for you. And if you don't trust them or you think they're incompetent, then fucking get someone else. What kind of stupid fucking bullshit is this? That's going to go over really well. That's going to go over really well. I guarantee it's going to just, yeah. How come you didn't run this play? I really like the guy number 33. I think he should throw the ball to him.
No. We don't need to talk in a feminine tone. I'm not. There's women out there that probably know a lot more about football than I do.
Oh, I agree. I'm just saying she won't.
Well, she's been around football her whole life, so she might know.
Yeah.
But my point is, it's the mic. Like, who performs to the best of their abilities when their superior is listening in on everything that you do? I don't know anybody. There's very few people I think that flourish in that type of environment.
You're correct.
Like, do you remember being in school and teachers would have like an accreditation going on, and like the principal or some other teacher or someone in the school district would be in the back just observing how they taught, and you just remember those classes being totally different than any other.
Yes,
it's the same type of shit, right?
Yeah.
All right.
I don't want Mike Brown has ruined the Bengals. I don't need Mike Brown helping calling fucking plays down the field in his tan coat and tan hat and think he's fucking his dad, Paul Brown.
Well, doesn't his daughter run it?
Well, sort of, but she doesn't have. Mike Brown's still calling the shots, majority, right? He's still everything goes through him. He still signs off on shit.
All the press things that I read about, like when that trade.
She's the face. She is the face of the Bengals.
Yeah.
Yes, and she, communicating all that stuff. But I guarantee you, Mike Brown is still back there pulling the strings.
Like the Godfather.
You gotta say it more with a lisp. He's got a real bad lisp. You got the Godfather.
I had a real I didn't have a big argument, but my son is very into film and he loves the Godfather movies.
Uh-huh.
And I'm watching this, through a different lens. However many years later, watching this, I go, "Boy, Marlon Brando's not good in this role." And it was like saying,
"Oh, Jesus!"
It was like saying like white cotton panties aren't the sexiest thing on a woman. You know what I mean? It was sacrilege. No, I said the other guy, I go, Al Pacino here, he's doing a very good role, but this other guy, hey. It's just like, come on. Let's quickly get out of this hole that I've just dug. And
where are we?
let's talk about what we've been playing, and then we'll get into some of the news. We've been playing a wide array of stuff. I think the first thing we should just discuss and get out of the way quickly, Matt, is we completed Dead Island 2.
Yeah, we did.
And now we didn't complete all the side quests and everything like that. That's
not yet.
That is TBD. We might go back there after we've let a good palate cleanser, and then come back to it. But we did finish the main story, or at least I think we did, because boy, that should have ended abruptly.
I don't know what happened at the ending. Still, I still don't know if. Are we still supposed to be chasing after that girl or something. I don't know. Yeah.
And they are not the first game not able to stick the landing. I thought, Fallout 4 was a very weak ass ending, and there's countless other games that they just run out of ideas. The ideas are somewhat strong in the middle, the beginning, middle, and then they forget about the end, and that end was just like, And I don't know if that's because, like, to your point, were they expecting to do Dead Island 3? Were they going to have DLC? So far, the DLC that they've released has nothing to do with the main story.
No.
So, yeah, it was rather weird. I don't want to give any spoilers away, but it was just like, yep, this dude did a bunch of stuff, and this person, related to this person, and yep, now she ran away. And that was it.
Yeah. Yeah,
and you were given something, and you had to make a choice or something like that, and weird ass ending for sure. I was, getting vaguely, into the story there, and it would have been nice
near the ending there. Yeah,
it would have been nice to have a little bit of a different closure, and it just felt like, boy, they ran out of time and money. Maybe is what you could say.
Yeah, I probably time, I suppose. I don't know. All right, hurry up. We gotta wrap this up with a whole new human thing in that, and the end with the 3 people. I was like, what? I don't. We was baffled. Baffled.
So you won't have to hear us talk about that anymore for a while. Dead Island 2 is in the books, and that was free on Epic Game Store. We like free. Free is good. Probably the first game that we have played. Well, you have one other one here that you're going to talk about. But besides Fortnite, one of the few games that we've ever played on the Epic launcher.
Yeah, it is. Thanks, Epic.
Yeah, thank you. So what else have you been playing, sir?
Well, let's go and talk about the other Epic game I played, Deliver at All Cost. I started that up probably about a week ago and got into that, started playing that. That's a whimsical little game there, a little fun little game to play. You go and you get a job as a delivery driver, taking on different roles and jobs to deliver stuff across a couple cities and stuff. And like the name says, deliver at all costs. It's deliver at all costs. You can crash into shit. You can break stuff. You can go crash through houses and people in that. If you hit people, sometimes they or hit another car. It's like GTA. They start fighting you, so you got to fight them. There's times where you hit something and your wheels fall off, so you got to repair your car, and you're repairing your car, and people start chasing after you because you hit them or something. Or like the one mission I did, I had to deliver fireworks to a party, and the fireworks are going off while you're driving around the town, and they're hitting things and they're blowing up your truck and that. It's fun. Your vehicle is hard to control. Like I said, it's a crazy, over the top game. Free on Epic. Give it a try for sure. It's one of those things where you just want to wreck up shit and mess stuff up. There you go. It's a fun little game. I'll be playing more of it for sure. Just because it's nice. It's a different change of pace from everything else that we've been playing.
Yeah, I think the window to get that has passed. I don't think it's free anymore. But yeah, I did grab it. It's something I need to fire up for sure, because some nights you just want to crash it. You just want to wreck shop. I think that's why we'll talk about it here in a minute, but we've gone back into the Division 2. Just, I think Matt more than me, but definitely I was feeling a little bit of as well. Dead Island 2 put a lot of roadblocks in front of you. You don't have the keys. The door opens from the other side. You need this, that, and the other thing. And I always felt like the game was hindering your progress or your fun. And
it was frustrating.
Yeah.
The puzzles weren't as obvious as like in the Division 2. It was frustrating. So we've been doing Division 2, both Mike and I. Started in, both bought the DLC, the Brooklyn DLC for that, season pass, all that. So we got in to doing it again. And it's one of them games we haven't played for months, right? It's been a while since we played. And so, of course, you start the game up and everything just starts popping off with these different things that are new and seasonal stuff and just game changes and that. And it's happening so fast you can't pay attention to all of it or just Xing out of it. I just want to play the fucking game. I want to see all this shit. And of course, then you do all that. It's like, well, what's going on? How does this work? What am I doing? That's a me problem there.
How do we heal again? How do we throw grenades?
Yeah, how do we heal? How do I throw a grenade, Mike? Yeah, I get my specials out. Yeah, it's a good change of pace again. Lots of fun to play. I think the Division 2, the shooting mechanic and cover system, besides Gears of War, is a fun way to play. I think the shooting feels good in it. The different weapons, the variety of weapons is really cool. The loot is pretty good, and how you get it. I'm still trying to figure out. Since we're at, like, I wouldn't say end game. Well, I guess we are end game, even though it's DLC. The loot and everything, the how to choose what gear I want to use and guns and weapons, as far as because some of it gives you more armor, some of it gives you weapon damage, skill tiers and that. It's like, okay, what am I supposed to be aiming for? A balance, more armor, more whatever. I've got a gear set I'm using, aces and eights. It's that green color, thing, whatever you want to call it, that dark green, teal, whatever.
When did you start using that?
I started collecting that shit back in before we stopped playing, months ago.
So you have roughly a full set of it?
Yeah, I'm missing a backpack. I don't have a backpack.
Do you feel sometimes when I try to go for these gear sets, you got to do the whole plus and minus thing. Like, yeah, I'm not as durable, but I'm more powerful with skills, or vice versa. And I find myself in this game, I just want to wreck shop, and I'm less about concerned, like, down to the nitty gritty. And I'm just like, what's going to give me the most damage and what's going to give me the most health? And oftentimes I just find myself mixing and matching. And does any of that have to do with, do you feel you got a green set of gear that's giving you more power, but you're now limited as far as your health and armor?
Yeah, I think definitely my health and armor is down, because I don't seem to last as long. Well, of course, it's also another one of my faults where we go into battle, and I'm, as Mike says, Matt, you don't need to go out and get the serial numbers from these guys. Just you can shoot them from back here. But the gear set, I've got 5 out of 6 pieces. As I'm shooting people, there's cards at the bottom of my screen that flip, and depending on the hand that I get, it gives me a boost in critical damage or a boost in just damage, period. Bonuses for ammo and stuff like that. So it kind of has that effect on it. Okay. And the more pieces you have, the more cards you have, the more hands you can make to do things. But I think it's hurting, my armor aspect of it. And there's different pieces of this gear that you can get. So like I had 3 pieces of this aces and eights, holster, I'll say, and each one had a different amount of weapon damage that it gave you. So there could be pieces out there that give me more armor or something like that. So it's just something to think about. But I got a ton of those, gear sets of different manufacturers and that, and then a couple exotics that I found. So I don't know, it's going good again. I'm going through the city, going through the Brooklyn DLC, unlocking safe houses, finding SHD caches, control points, all of that stuff. So it's like I said, it's a nice change of pace, fun to play. There's a lot going on with the game. Couple bugs, of course, as always with Ubisoft and Division. Every time we log into the game, it says something about agent. We gotta get with Kelso, and I don't have time. And every freaking time we log in, it says this, line. It's like, okay, come on. let's not get that. And then the other night, Mike was playing, and he's like, "Where's my arm? I don't have an arm anymore. I just got a stub. My arm's gone." And dealing with shit like that, or just little odds and that stuff, and then the clown car thing where like 100 people come out of one little room that you're just shooting over and over again. Stuff like that.
Yeah.
It kind of gets on you.
I think, as you were talking, I was looking up to confirm if Division 3 is in development, and all signs point to Massive is working on it. But yeah, I think that's it. Like you said, the cover system, the shooting, everything like that feels still pretty good for a game that was released in 2019. The whole clown car, I think a lot of games fall victim to this. Like, what do you do after you clear a wave of enemies? Do you progress to a different area? Do you have more enemies appear? And if they do appear, how do you make them appear? Because right now it does feel very like they just fucking are chilling behind this door and waiting for their number to be called just to go out there. It feels, in 2025, it feels like we've progressed beyond that in gaming. That feels like a bit of an old callback. I can't remember, Matt, in this game, can you drop stuff? So what I'm trying to say is, if you need a piece of gear and I have it, can I drop? I don't think you can drop. Can you? Yeah,
you can. You can swap pieces with a team member, because like last night I had something and I modded it. You can think him up in the morning. If you add a mod to this, you can no longer trade it or swap it or whatever. Yeah.
So I'll have to look and see if I have what you need.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't done any of I have a whole bunch of that green gear, but I haven't done anything with it. And I know I had exotics at one point. I wonder if they're in my stash. I've yet to look at my stash from way back when, you'd go in and at DC.
Oh, wow.
I wonder if my exotics are in there. I haven't gotten any new ones since we've been playing. But I do want to move on to, you've been trying to play this on the ROG Ally, the base Ally, the first one. And we're going to get into a lot into handhelds here in just a bit. We're in the handheld world, whether you want to be part of it or not. That's where gaming is headed towards. And so you have the ROG Ally. You're a guy that likes to either be outside on the back patio or at the farm. Good luck playing that at the farm, because I think you got to be online. But anyways, tell us how it's going and any pain points.
Yeah, it looks great. Right, I got the Extreme, the Z1. And it's it plays great. It looks great. It runs smooth. The problem was just getting everything set up. Of course, with the Ally, I got on Steam, right? So download it from Steam, and you start it up, and then the whole process of getting Ubisoft app on the Ally and then sign into that. And then when you sign into that, it signs you out of your computer version, and vice versa. And so it's like, fuck, and you're trying to authenticate stuff in that. But when I finally got everything working and running, I booted it up, and it's great. The text, I gotta wear my cheaters, my glasses, if I have my contacts in while I'm playing this. The text is a little small in that, but enemies are easy to see still. Smooth gameplay, just like I'm playing on the computer. It picked up my character and everything, of course. The cloud saves and all that stuff. It seemed to run great on it. We'll be getting plenty of use of it. Out on the deck or on the couch or where have you. And unfortunately, at the farm, I won't be able to play it because it's server based. So, but
I wonder what the Steam Deck experience is like. They say it is playable. Does that mean you have to bounce out to like Linux and install like the Ubisoft app?
Yeah, that's why I looked up the thing on the store, the Steam Deck, and yeah, it comes with a thing, a bunch of yellow dots. One, it's hard to read, requires the keyboard at times to type stuff in, and I think that's referring to having to go like Ubisoft or something, a launcher to be able to make that work and make that happen. So I think that's part of an issue with it. It'll run. People play it on the Steam Deck, but I think a lot more difficult to get it running on there than it is on the Ally.
So in other words, Matt, a big middle finger to Ubisoft for requiring a game that is sold on another platform to have to interface with their platform to sort of authenticate yourself.
Yes, I mean, I could see if you bought off the Ubisoft, whatever, their app. Okay, cool. But if you bought it off of Steam, you bought off of Steam. You don't need to have to. You shouldn't have to.
Unless your save is on their end, like you should be able to play. You should be able to go on your Xbox now and download the Division 2 and pick up where you left off. I believe this game has cross progression. I could totally be making that up.
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
You talking about going on the Xbox and downloading Division 2?
I'm trying to justify the reason for having to go into your Ubisoft account, and is that because they are keeping track of your progress on their servers, sort of like Diablo, sort of like Cyberpunk? So all of a sudden, you're playing Division 2 on your Ally, and then you go to your Xbox and you have Division 2, and you should be able to pick up where you left off. I don't know. One of us could do a quick Google search here and say, does the Division 2 have cross?
Yeah. We have to see.
But I'm trying to justify why you have to log into your Ubisoft account.
Well, I'm trying to look here.
Division 2 does not support cross progression between consoles and PC. So that throws out that argument.
Well, I'm looking here too on like the page on Steam, and normally when you go to a game in your library and you click on it, it says cloud status up to date. Like I'm looking at Car Mechanic Simulator 2021, cloud status up to date. When I go to Division 2, that is not there.
Yeah, you're saving it on Ubisoft's,
yeah.
But they don't have cross progression to bounce your save around like BattleNet does for Diablo and CD Projekt Red does for Cyberpunk.
Yeah.
All right, so we're back in Division 2 for a little bit. I think the campaign and the main missions for this DLC is pretty short. We probably have like one or two left to do to wrap that story up, and then it's side missions and whatever other assorted things to do that pop up, like control points and public executions and getting the caches, like you mentioned.
Mm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any new revelations at the car mechanic shop, or status quo?
I've progressed on from fixing cars, from doing jobs to now going to junkyards and barns and auctions to buy cars that need fixing up. And I'm at the point now where I'm got some cash in hand, and I'm restoring cars and either keeping them for myself or selling them for a nice, hefty profit. So that's what I'm doing now with Car Mechanic Simulator. Progress through the story, and I can still do jobs and take jobs, if I wanted to. I check every once in a while the jobs list and see if there's something looks interesting, looks cool. But now I'm focusing on restorations of cars. Yep.
Okay. Anything else you've been playing, or is that it?
I think that's probably about it.
All right. Let's see. Dragon Age Veilguard on my end, almost done with it. I just crossed the 50-hour mark. My character is at level 47. I'm wrapping up some of the quest lines for the individual companions, and then I'm ready to sort of tackle endgame. So hopefully I should have that nipped in the bud the next time we talk. I've been playing a bunch of stuff on the Switch too. We'll start with Cyberpunk. Kudos to CD Projekt Red for getting that to work on that system. I wasn't that impressed with it in handheld mode, but I was still playing it in quality mode. I probably should have dipped it down to performance like I did when I was in docked mode. In docked mode with performance, I was really pleased with what I was seeing. The one unusual thing, and Los and I were talking about this, and many people are talking about it, is you really had to dial in the HDR and brightness settings on your Switch 2 with your television. The way they were doing things was not the most user-friendly. And so far, this is one game that I'm sort of butting heads with a little bit with the brightness. And what I noticed while I was playing it, I thought it looked okay. But when I came back to the home dashboard, the colors were all out of whack, like they were before I did any of the sort of tuning of things. But then as quickly as I switched over to Mario Kart World, everything swapped back to what I previously had for my settings. So I have to do a deeper dive into that of why the colors change when I just play that one particular game. But as far as movement, everything felt like it was a cyberpunk experience to me. I thought the text was way too small to play it in handheld with my eyes. To me, it would be a dock-only experience. Unless I was maybe like 100 hours in, and I was just, everything was just sort of, intuitive to me. It was a bit of that, Division experience. Like, all right, I haven't played this in a little bit. How do I scan the guys? How do I, shoot? How do I heal myself? So maybe as I got more familiar with that, I wouldn't care so much about the text. But right now, I'm preferring to play it in docked mode. Mario Kart World I already talked about. Fantastic experience. And then I've been playing a couple other racers on the Switch 2. Fast Fusion. Think of that. What were those racing games that were on PlayStation? Those futuristic.
Gran Turismo?
No.
Oh no,
The futuristic racers that you would go real super fast through these like tubes.
Ridge Racer?
Not Ridge Racer. I think that was.
No.
I was on the tip of my tongue just a few days. I would get motion sickness playing those games, but
it was on the Vita. I remember playing on the Vita.
Wipeout.
There it is.
Yeah.
Yep.
Very much like Wipeout, but yeah, Fast Fusion on the Switch 2 was only $14.99. Fun little game. I'm not that great at it, so I haven't progressed that far through it. But if you're familiar with Wipeout, I think the sort of same things apply. And then I've been playing Cruise and Blast, this is an over-the-top racing game. Think of like Midway type games, or like pinball. What I mean by that is, you're racing just on a normal course and all of a sudden dinosaurs come across the screen. Or maybe you're in a situation where there's like helicopters coming everywhere and the floor drops out and you're looking at this big Yeti and like ice on the ground. And then as you come down, you crash through the ice and all of a sudden you're in a jungle with like lions and zebras, going across the screen. It's very over the top, but it's just, try to get the gold medal, right? And the more gold medals you get, the more courses that you unlock. And there's power-ups as far as like nitro, and you collect cash to unlock, different decals and car frames and colors. Fun little game.
Are they kind of like quick hit races or?
Yeah. Some of them are a little bit longer than others, but even the long ones are no more than like a minute and a half, 2 minutes.
Oh yeah, okay. Yeah.
A lot of replay value if you're into it, to try to get top scores and things like that. And then I finally broke the seal on Super Mario Wonder, which of course came out on the Switch and hadn't played it until we got the Switch 2. Just another typical Mario game, right? It's the latest in there. And this can be played with up to 4 people. So far, I've only just played it myself, but it's got some interesting. This is the one that's got the elephant in it. And you can change the elephant and you can use his trunk for stuff. And then I think it's not the first Mario game, but it's one of the ones where you can sort of go back dimensionally, so you're going along, sideways, left to right. And then you might see stuff going on back or in the distance, and you go down into a pipe and it puts you all the way in the back. And so you see yourself there and you play that sort of dimension, going back and forth like that.
Didn't Mario Brothers 3 have an element like that where you go like behind like the shrubs and bushes and stuff as you was going along? One of the Marios, earlier Marios had that.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not sure if this is Los and other people would know better than I would. I'm not sure if this is like, it's definitely first party because it's Mario, right? But I'm not sure if it's like the same people that made like the last Mario with Bowser Fury, whatever that title is. I'm not sure if it's like, is canon the right word I'm trying to use? I'm not sure if it's like, if it's like proper Mario in the whole like Super Mario Bros. Games. I think it might be, but you've got to collect these seeds, and again, Bowser came in and ruined the party, and you got to do something along those lines, right? Stop me if you heard that before.
Fucking Bowser.
Yeah, so I'm having a lot of fun with the Switch 2, trying to go back and play some games that I didn't play on the Switch, and try to breathe some new life into my library there. So those are the first couple ones that I've tried, and I'll be playing some other ones that some of them I haven't even opened the shrink wrap, like that Super Mario Wonder.
Wow, nice.
Let's get into a bit of the news here, Matt. Over the last 2 weeks, there was a PlayStation State of Play. There was Summer Game Fest. There was the Xbox Game Showcase, and there was the PC thing. But I don't know about you, how closely you followed these things. I watched some of them, majority of them. A lot of good games. Nothing really, blowing me away. And clearly I could see by the reaction online that maybe my interests are maybe not so aligned with other people these days. Because a lot of other people were like, wow, this is great. This was awesome. That was awesome. And so certainly have respect for the games that were out there, but a vast majority of them didn't speak to me. And I don't know if they're not making the games that I like as much, or if they're just too expensive to make, or they can't make money off of them, or whatever. But there was few and far between to sort of really pique my interest. So as I was thinking of discussing the news this week, I think one thing that I think we were both interested in is the Xbox news with their own handheld in partnership with Asus. That was kind of shown a quarter of a way through the Xbox Game Showcase, and there's going to be 2 flavors of these ROG Xbox Ally and the ROG Xbox Ally X. Okay. Not sure how much of the nitty and gritty we need to get into the two, but one's, let's just say, the Xbox Series S equivalent, and the other is the Xbox Series X equivalent, just to give people a sort of sense of the flavor. I don't think any of these things have the power of an Xbox Series X. And supposedly pre-sales will go out in August, and releasing either holiday, or sometimes they're maybe even speculating these will be out in October.
Mm-hmm.
I think that the things to get out in front of already is some people about the price. And I'm hearing a lot of people saying, well, they can't be as expensive as the current ROG Allies that me and you own. To which I say, well, why not? Xbox just raised the price of their own consoles. Why do we think all of a sudden they're cutting us deals here?
And why will Asus undercut their Ally?
Right. If anything, they would these ones would be more expensive, and they'd give a price cut for ones that have already been out in the marketplace. I think if you currently go on Best Buy, the ROG Ally X is $899, and
for the 1 terabyte version.
Yep. And the ROG Ally, the one that you have, is that $649 right now?
No, the Z1 Extreme, I think, is it $649? It might be.
I want to say
I know I think the regular Ally is like down to $400 or something.
Okay.
The Ally, load up for me. Yeah, the Z1 Extreme is $649.
And that's the one you have.
That's one I have. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So the Z1 Extreme that you have, many people are calling out bullshit on this ROG Xbox Ally, the Z2A. They're saying that Z2A really should just be the Z1 Extreme like you have. That they're just giving it this Z2A name.
It's not a new processor? It's not a Z2 processor?
It's not top-end silicone like the ROG Xbox Ally X. You know, it is very, very comparable to the Z1 Extreme that you have already. So there's a guy out there who's very, I guess, well versed on these sort of news. His social media personnel is Extra 1S. Got a history of providing retail information prior to the official announcements, and claimed that pre-orders for the two handhelds will begin in August, and that so far the European retail data suggests that they will be priced at $899 for the premium model and $599 for the base model. So
$899 equals $1,031 United States dollar.
Unless Microsoft and Asus have some deal, Microsoft has purchasing power and has bought a whole bunch of these and promised, you know, Asus said we're going to buy a whole bunch of these, so cut us a deal. To which, you know, who's really in charge of that supply line? Is Asus telling Microsoft what the cost is, or is Microsoft telling? It's all to be worked out. But that gives us a sort of, I think for the premium model, you can expect anywhere between $900 to $1,300. I think $1,300 would be suicidal, but I'm giving you a range of what I think it's going to be, somewhere in that range, $900 to $1,300. And I think the lesser model is going to be somewhere between $500 to $700.
Yeah, I mean, you look at prices of the Lenovo. You know, it's over $1,000, $1,200. So yeah, you're looking. I probably figure it's going to be $1,000. I'd imagine.
And I think, you know, Xbox has got to do some work on the messaging here. I think people like me and you who already have gaming handhelds are wise to the fact that this system is not going to play all your Xbox games. That this system is going to play whatever they have put in the Play Anywhere pipeline, which means you can either buy them on their Xbox PC Game Store or they're available via PC Game Pass. You are not just going to be able to pull up any sort of Xbox game and play it natively on the device. Now, you can stream games from your Xbox, and it will be cloud. So if those games are in the cloud, or if you're close to your Xbox and you just want to stream the game from your Xbox to your ROG Ally, you can do that. But as far as playing it natively, downloading and playing it, it's not going to play all your Xbox games. And I think, again, the people like me and you were well aware of that, but I think there's a lot of people, and especially in that 10 to 15 minute video they said this is a console-like experience where this is an Xbox. You're going to be able to play your Xbox games on here. And they're going to have to get in front of that messaging, I think, a little bit better to not confuse the public that, all right, I just want to pull up, you pick out a game that's not on PC Game Pass or on the PC Store, and why can't I play it? Because you can't play it natively. Your options here either now or cloud or stream it from your Xbox.
Yeah, you got to figure all the PC games will be playable, right? Because it's basically a PC device. Yeah, but like if you're, I don't know what, I can't think of a good example that would be, but yeah, you're not going to be able to play all your Xbox shit.
Yeah. So the lesser model is, I think, more of a 720 screen. The bigger model can do between 900 and 1080p. It's got they both have a 7-inch screen. The premium one is, if you got the money, is what you want to go after. It's got 24 gigabytes of RAM, 1 terabyte of SSD storage, 800 watt battery. And I would listen to Digital Foundry. They have some serious concerns whether that thing can actually do 1080p as promised. They think there'll be a lot of upscaling. They think that they were better.
Ally X does 1080 gaming.
Right, and they are not happy with the quality. They say a lot of those games suffer. That they are in handheld mode. You're better off just doing 720p is their sort of thought. And the games would just run better and you get better battery life. And no one on that is able to really tell between 720 and 1080p on a handheld.
Yeah, you're playing this on a 7-inch screen. Yeah. Do you really need 1080p? No, you don't.
Yeah, that's sort of their takeaway there. It is the heaviest handheld, especially the top end one. It comes in at 1.58 pounds.
Probably because of the battery.
Yeah. So someone from Polygon said the most noticeable thing about the ROG Xbox Ally X was unfortunately how tired my forearms were after just 20 minutes of playing Gears of War Remaster. Now that was a woman that gave that quote. So we're all built differently. So that maybe not could be a concern for some people. But if there are any women listeners, that was one of her concerns. Digital Foundry has a concern. They say bigger hardware footprint, more weight, yet smaller screen than a Switch 2. So if you're one of those people that doesn't do a lot of couch gaming, doesn't do a lot of PC gaming, you like to keep it in the handheld space, and you're an enthusiast in that area, you're doing a lot of Switch 2, and then you all of a sudden go to this Xbox One, you're gonna feel that difference of weight and then smaller screen size and be like, what the hell? This thing is supposed to be more powerful, but yet it weighs more, and now I'm on a much smaller screen. So something to keep in mind if you're bouncing in between your two handhelds.
I think they probably could have put a bigger screen on that thing if they would have got rid of them stupid ass handles on the ends.
I've watched so many videos, Matt, and listened to so many people, and a lot of people say it looks ugly like you did, but a lot of people say it feels like an Xbox, and it actually helps, like you said, distribute the weight. That it is quite comfortable because of that. A lot of people, though, are saying, yeah, it sort of looks like the PlayStation Portal where they just fucking stretched out the controllers and stuck a screen in the middle.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting that there's no color choice. You would think for the premium model, you'd get a difference between color, but if the black one is just the high end and the white one is the low end.
Well, you gotta have something to sell in the future, Mike.
There you go.
When the Halo Special Edition comes out, or the Cyberpunk Special Edition, or the Grand Theft Auto Special Edition.
No OLED screen. So that's something.
I am surprised about that.
Well, they got to have something to sell you, Matt. The ROG Ally doesn't have OLED either. This has the same screen as the ROG Ally.
I agree. Yeah, I know. But I'm just saying, I'm surprised that OLED wasn't out there, at least for the more expensive one.
So, we'll have to decide if, when we get finished here, if we're interested in this or not. They said that this is going to be full screen experience Xbox. It's still a Windows handheld device. You are launching into essentially what is big picture mode in Steam. You're launching into what they call full screen experience. Okay. You still can go to a Windows experience. You can press a button and go to your Windows desktop. But you are in a full screen experience by default. And theoretically, you can go to your Battle.net. You can go to Ubisoft, your GOG, your Epic, Steam. But you do need to bounce out to Windows and install those for them to show up in sort of this big picture full screen experience mode. So it's not like this. It's not like the fucking filling inside of a Twinkie, Matt, where it's just fucking born there. You just you have to go and do some work to get those devices on the system for them then to work in big picture mode, right? Full screen experience.
Mm-hmm.
They just don't all instinctively know, hey, Devious Mr. Matt logged in, so he likes to play on Steam and plays Division, so we got to give him Ubisoft and all this. You're going to have to do all that work yourself, bounce out of full screen, install them, and then bounce back.
Same problem you have with the Steam Deck.
If you're playing non-Steam games, you have to go. You have to go to the Linux desktop, install them, and then you can add them as non-Steam games to your Steam library.
Right,
but I don't
basically.
I am such not into that world. That's why I have one of both. I just play Steam games on Steam, and on the Ally, I just play Xbox Game Pass games, and I don't cross-pollinate my worlds. And I live a very happy, simple life like that. They did say that they've cut out, they didn't come out and say the bloat, but they've cut out things that are not needed for a gaming device. So they've given sort of 2 gigabytes of memory back that can go into gaming. So that's like stuff we talked about last time.
Yeah.
I think I'm excited for it. It's a step in the right direction, but I think Windows and Microsoft have burned us so many times before. Gaming for Windows, and how many times we're addressing this problem, we're addressing this, and the same type of problems still come up. So my concern is, Matt, that this thing comes out for $1,000, and it is not like a Steam OS experience. Where Steam handles all the drivers for you. They bundle it up into one thing. When there's a Steam update, you just go to the update, and it updates the device, and you're on your way. Is this thing going to do that for you, or is every little driver going to need to be updated, whether it's Armory Crate or audio drivers or whatever all those things are that need to be updated? Is that still going to be the same experience, or are they going to be able to figure out that there's just, like Steam does, it's just one big update, and they bundle it all together for you. You press a button, yes, I want to update, and poof, it does it, and then you're on your way.
If they want the true handheld experience, then yes, they have to do it that way. That's what Steam Deck does, right? Steam Deck is a handheld console. It is. And Microsoft would have to match that to do that.
That's a lot of work that needs to get done in a short order. And I don't know. I want to give them the benefit of the doubt, but a lot of people who do this stuff for a living says there's no way that they can address DirectX 12 between now and October to have all that stuff bundled in. So it's going to be an iterative process. So people buying this thing might have to feel like they're in some sort of beta program. And that is a tough pill to swallow if you're spending $1,000 and the thing isn't rock solid. Just like the Steam OS was rock solid, but then now they've iterated and put it on other devices. This is kind of like a couple years too late. If you're coming out 3 years after the Steam Deck and your OS is not up to snuff like what they're doing, I guess the point I'm trying to make is it's a lot of money to shell out for a device that doesn't have all the bells and whistles to your computer. And people are expecting, they kept saying this is a console-like experience. Well, people on consoles don't update drivers, and they don't update shader caches. They just press buttons and they happen on the Steam Deck, right? I'm
hoping that they're doing their homework and doing their research and they're doing their due diligence so that, this all works. Because, just like you said, if you put out $1,000 piece of equipment and it doesn't work like a console, like what people think it's going to, you're going to hear there's going to be a lot of backlash. Like you said, there's going to be a lot of people, maybe the people like us might understand some of that, okay, there's going to be some things here and there to deal with, but there's going to be a lot of people out there, some of these people waiting in line for a Switch thinking that's going to work right out of the box, that might be highly upset.
I think that's my concern. I think for me, let's talk about, are we going to, buy this device? I think for me, they have said that they are going to release these two ROG Xbox devices, Asus, and then they're going to bring the software over to the ones that me and you already own. Existing, is that day 1? Is that day 30? Is that 2026? I guess I'm looking for you, Matt. Like, what is as a customer already that has one, what is your expectation? Should they respect your purchase and update you within 30 days? Or are you okay with someone buying this and getting some sort of exclusivity for 90 to 120 days, and then in 3 to 4 months, your system gets updated? Where are you sitting with that?
Well, I don't think there's no obligation for Xbox or Asus or whatever to have this OS be available for our current allies. There's no obligation there for that. It'd be nice. It'd be a nice to have for the people that already have an ally or whatever to be able to experience this OS, whatever, this experience. But why are we obligated to have to get that also?
Well, I think I think something about adoptability. You want more people using Xbox PC or whatever they're calling this OS. You want more people adopting it, advocating it, telling other people using it. I think to segment a certain population that have already purchased into the Windows PC experience to close them out just because they didn't purchase a certain device doesn't feel customer centric to me. Again, like you said, they're not obligated to do it, but be careful what you wish for. I think they've already said they're going to do it, so we know that's going to happen.
Right.
We just don't know if it's day 1, day 30, 3 to 4 months or whatever. It could be a blessing that you wait 3 to 4 months, because let the people that plunk down the money work out all the bugs, and then once they put out a couple patches, we get a much better experience. But I do think I know they said they're not going to do it, but if, let's just say they weren't, to not update these devices, I think would be really bad business, because I think then you have a much smaller adoption rate and no one advocating, and a lot of businesses, Matt, like the jobs that I do, you want people evangelizing your products. You want someone telling you, hey, Matt, I just bought this thing. You won't believe what Windows has done to gaming. You got to play this. You got to try it out. And I think if you just limited it to people that just bought this small segment of a device, you're not going to really get ahead.
Well, I agree with that, but that's up to Microsoft now. You asked me, do we, how soon do we want this out on our machine?
How soon do you want it?
I don't care. I'll take it whenever it comes out, but it's up to Microsoft to do that. Okay, if they feel like they're getting their money's worth with just being on the Xbox Ally, then okay, they're the ones that got to decide when to release it and what to do. It's for us to want it. Okay, cool, sure, we'd want it, but that's not a decision for us. That's a decision for Microsoft to decide. Okay, well, you know what? Hey, man, these things aren't really selling too well, so let's go ahead and throw this software out now to existing Ally users and get them in our what they call that when our universe or our ecosystem.
Yep.
That's where that comes in.
So a sort of analyst firm, Ampere, estimates that there were 5.3 million PC gaming handhelds sold by the end of last year. 4.1 million of those being the Steam Deck. The analyst firm expects that will reach 7.2 million units by the end of this year, and forecast the install base to reach 12.9 million by the end of 2028. These estimates predate Xbox new announcement, but the firm isn't expecting to revise these figures significantly. So they think the Xbox ROG Ally isn't going to make a tremendous splash that they need to go back and revise their figures. They adequately fits into their expectation already. So
I think I'm sorry, go ahead, Mike.
That just gets back to, I think, adoptability, getting people to use your software, testing it, getting word of mouth. I think they understand, because they said they're going to do it. They are making a decision as to when they will release those on, the Lenovo Legion Go and the MSI Claw and things of that nature. But they have so far have confirmed that the ROG Allies, non-Xbox and Xbox, will be updated.
I think one thing I will do, I think I will make a serious consideration of upgrading to the Ally X in anticipation of this software coming out. Give me a little more juice, a little more horsepower. We'll see what that does. I do believe that's more of a possibility of me doing that than buying the Xbox Ally. And I gotta tell you, the number one reason why I don't like the way that thing looks. I'm in the minority about that, but I think that's the ugliest motherfucker out there. And I love the look of my Ally now. I love the look of the Ally X. So
you're going to be very embarrassed to have that at work.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, you look like a fucking. I would look like a fucking tool there. They're going like, oh man, he's playing on his Game Boy.
Matt, one of the reasons I love playing on a console is that I'm locked in for a good 7 to 8 years. Sure, they come out with the Slims and the Pros, but I don't have to. 7 to 8 years, I have that box. And every game that gets released will just work on it. Plus and minus degrees, all to the developers and publishers of how well their games perform. But I don't have to do anything except pay for it and install it. This is a tricky question because by the end of this year, Asus will have released, 5? We're talking about the original ROG Ally, then the second one that you have, which is the Z1 Extreme. Then there's the ROG Ally X, and now these two X.
That's 5. That's 5 how I count.
5. So is this like phones where there's going to be a new one every year? Like what? I guess what I'm trying to drive at is they have to run a business. Technology keeps evolving. We see it every year with the cards for computers, regular desktop computers.
Yeah.
But we're not talking about plopping down less than $500 here. We're talking close to $1,000. And to constantly iterate on these handhelds, Steam Deck to their credit have not, with the exception of the OLED, right? And they said that they weren't going to release one every year.
Correct.
They were going to wait some time, and there is no sort of updates yet for a Steam Deck 2. No rumors. They've quickly shot them down that they're not iterating on this something yearly. So I guess, whether you can say respect someone's purchase, etc. What I'm driving at here, if someone saves up their money and they got an Xbox Ally X, would you feel burned if in 9 months, 12 months later, they announce Xbox Ally X 2.0 with Kung Fu Grip? And you're like, shit, man, I just saved up and got this. And now they're already coming out with... That's what I love about a console is you don't have that constant need to get something new, right? For 7 or 8 years, you're locked into this device. You sit and just move on and worry about the games. And having always to chase the latest and greatest can be a crash and burn lifestyle.
I think those days are over. Where I think you're going to have constant updates, constant upgrades. PlayStation does it with like you said, the Slims, the Pros, all that type of stuff. Computers, every month there's a brand new computer out you can buy that's got something upgraded or new to it. Phones yearly basis with the iPhones, the Samsung, the Galaxies, and that. But that doesn't mean. Just because a new one comes out doesn't mean you have to have it, right? I mean, there's a few people that every year a new iPhone comes out, they buy the new iPhone. But shit, man, there's a lot of people that have the same phone for 3, 4, 5 years, until it actually craps out. Then they go out and buy one, and they'll have that because the shit's expensive. $1,300 for a phone, $1,500 for a phone.
If we keep it just to Xbox. It's been 5 years since anything is more powerful than what you bought on Donut Day. You cannot go out right now and buy something more powerful in the Xbox ecosystem than what you already bought on that day. And so, again, this goes back to Xbox. This is an Xbox. They're trying to sell this as an Xbox console-like experience. All right. I bought this thing. I expect this. Yeah, I guess to your point, it's going to work for 7 or 8 years, or how well you take care of it and update it and all that stuff. But yeah, it's going to be interesting how players deal with that when the new one comes out a year later. Or does Asus release? All right, Asus just did a lot of work with Xbox. All of a sudden, they come out with their own ROG Ally X. The next version that is not Xbox branded, it's just Windows PC again.
Right.
And I think these companies got to be careful too, oversaturate, right? Kill all the momentum and all the goodwill that these devices have. Just flood the market with shit isn't always the right thing to do. We just read the numbers how Steam Deck is doing so well. I think some of that is because hardware stability. They've kept pretty much the same device out there.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And the Steam Deck struggles with some new games and that. There's some things you got to, But I think that's another thing that's going to happen too. Is you got to realize too, games are evolving faster than consoles and all that, with the graphics and all this shit, they're constantly getting better and more powerful.
I want it
constantly.
So
yeah.
So you're. I have a feeling you're on wait and see mode. You're happy. You might update to the Ally X, and you'll wait and see how this Xbox full experience looks. But you're, even having said that, it sounds like you are out just because of the form factor.
I'd have to see it I've seen pictures of it, but I'd have to actually see how stupid it looks in person before, getting it.
Moving on, because of the popularity or whatever the reason is, Microsoft potentially has canceled their own work on their handheld. I think we reported last week that they paused work on their own first-party handheld, but now it seems like the new report has come out that has essentially said they have canceled releasing their own first-party handheld. Now, they did announce this week a partnership with AMD, continued partnership. AMD, powers all the PlayStations and Xboxes, and they are going to continue that work with AMD. And so that's in the ROG Ally X's that we just talked about. They're in ours that we already own, and the Xbox ones. And it will also be in the 10th generation console that Xbox is going to put out in a couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a lot of questions about what is that generation going to look like. To me, Matt, it feels like this Asus is a test bed for the next console. What I'm trying to get at is, I think Xbox is going to have their own flavor of console that you can buy, whatever it's called. But I think you could also get one from Asus. You could get one from, give me some other, give me some other computer makers. I'm not going to say Dell or HP, but the
Lenovo, Cyber PC, something like that.
A pre-built Xbox console that's running the Xbox OS.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's where Xbox's future, because this isn't my own thought, but I thought it was brilliant when I heard it. What is the best way to prevent PlayStation from getting exclusives? It's to have your software everywhere, because you can't go to Square Enix and say, you can't put out Final Fantasy on PC. You're just going to keep it to PlayStation? You know what I mean? If your OS is everywhere on every friggin' PC because it's Windows based, then you get a much bigger return.
Sure.
And so I think Xbox is going to be done with their own little box. They'll have their box this time that you can buy, but I think there's other people who are going to have boxes too that are going to run the same hardware, and you're going to have choices. It's going to be essentially a PC.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. I think this could be a good test run for the software. How it works on PC, and
I think for people that still like the console experience, you're going to have Nintendo and PlayStation do their thing. But I think Xbox is going to slowly pivot away from that. They'll put out their box, but they'll have other people putting out the same type of box, and you'll have a choice. Do I want to get the Xbox flavored one, the Asus, Lenovo, and whoever else makes PCs these days? For some reason, it's escaping my brain right now, but I think that's where they pivot. So they have essentially paused work and probably canceled their own first-party handheld. They're going to go to this third-party route, which I think is smart. I think that's the right play for them. I really do. And conversely, one last story here. There's talk of Sony having their own handheld, and many people said Sony had to walk so Xbox could run, right? Sony came out with the PSP and the Vita.
Yeah.
And now all these other, handhelds are coming out, and Sony, beyond their own PS Portal, quietly maybe working on their own handheld. So it says here, quietly in the background, plausible technical specifications for Sony's next generation handheld have come to light. This is from Richard Ledbetter at Digital Foundry /Eurogamer. Bearing in mind that we're likely years away from release, the plausibility of these specs has to be questioned, but at the same time, the source of the leak, Kepler L2, has proven to be a highly reliable source for all sorts of AMD information. He was also first to corroborate the PlayStation 5 Pro spec. His Sony handheld specs are unusually detailed for a project so far out, but to be fair, they do lack highly important context. The chip at the heart of the machine is built on AMD's new graphic architecture, known by some as UDNA, but nobody quite knows what it's capable of. Therefore, getting a grip on what the machine is capable of doing will be challenging. So at least I won't read the rest of it. That Eurogamer, you can go read it. It'll be in the show notes. But there is some sort of confirmation here that Sony wants to get involved with their own handheld, and I don't think that this is going to be a Windows device. This is just going to be a Sony handheld where you can play your Sony games on it. You can put your PlayStation games.
It's still a shame that they didn't support the Vita like what was promised. The Vita was a fine, nice machine. The whole continue playing on the Vita, where you left off in the PS4 and that was nice. It's a shame. Yeah, I wish they would have supported that more.
Was it ahead of its time? There wasn't a big adoption rate? Did they not get enough?
I think so. Yeah. I think if something like that will come out now, I think it'd probably do better. It'd get more support, I imagine. Yeah.
Okay.
The Vita was nice.
Sometimes I feel like lately Sony has been a step or two behind. They're chasing their tail on these live service games, and those are far and few these days. And just this week, Marathon came out indefinitely delayed because it was so poorly received in the alpha test. And they've canceled so many of their other live service games. It's like, if this is a years out, years from now, technology has advanced so much. They're going to be putting something out that's going to be a dinosaur like the Switch 2, and we've already moved on. They obviously have a better handle on these things than I do, but it feels like they need to get to the party sooner than later. And
More for getting complacent.
I think they had some poor leadership there for a while. I don't think Jim Ryan was the best guy, and he might have left them there in a little bit of limbo. And then they had two. Have you ever worked for a company, Matt, where there's been like two CEOs, two guys in charge? Things really don't work out that well, and that's sort of what they pivoted to after Jim Ryan. And then they said, "Yeah, that's not working out," and they finally appointed one of the guys, and the other guy went on to. So yeah, I do. Sony, they got the brand reputation. They're still selling those things like hotcakes, but boy, they are short on first-party games right now, and I wonder if this handheld is going to be a little bit too late. If it's still talking about years out, like 2028, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see. I do think gaming is a younger person's sort of situation now, and I think younger people are more apt to play things on the go. So maybe that even gets more down the line. People aren't looking for the latest and greatest visuals. It's just, can I play this game and have it look reasonably well and perform well? So when I'm at the park, I'm on a plane, I'm at the farm, I can pass the time, and I don't need all the latest, greatest bells and whistles. It doesn't have to be an RTX 590 experience.
I think so. They're trying to get some of the phones, get the people that play on their phones something a little bit bigger to play with.
I think that's the story of mankind, right? They've always wanted something bigger and better to play with.
That's what I've heard.
Yeah. I'm always at the short end of that. All right. Anything else you want to discuss, Matt, on any of this handheld stuff? It's a handheld world, and it's up to you if you want to be in it or not.
Yeah. I'm excited. I'm looking forward to it. I hope it does well. Hopefully it improves some of these handheld gaming computers and that someone else come out with something bigger and better.
What's it going to take for you to get the Switch 2? Is Donkey Kong Bonanza? What would it take for you to another pandemic? What, Animal Crossing 2.0? Is that what it is? Is that what?
Probably something like that. Something like that. It's like you brought up before. I was thinking about it when he's talking about nothing really wowed you at the Xbox show. The games and stuff coming out, and I was thinking while you're talking about that, I was like, well, what would excite me, get me really going, for an announcement? I think it'd be like a Division 3, another Uncharted game, Infamous game. Those games, announcements like that.
I mean, yeah,
Witcher 4. SOCOM, another SOCOM or something like that. Like, oh fuck, another SOCOM's coming out. Or like Killzone.
Red Dead 3. I read a few of the previews today, not reviews, previews, that Borderlands 4 is the best Borderlands in a long time. So I'm looking forward to that coming up. And they confirm that is not an $80 game. That will be a $69.99 game.
$70. Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm looking forward. I'm not a gun person in real life, but I like my cars and my guns in my video games. Some sort of escapism, fantasy, I don't need them in my real world, so I have them in my fantasy world.
Escape from reality. Absolutely.
Well, Matt, I'm going to escape from you right now in my reality of this podcast. We're going to wrap this. Going to wrap this up here. We are almost 2 hours, which is long for us, but very, very verbose.
I never heard that neither.
Swing on down sometime. Fucking Christ. We're gonna
fucking Christ would be nothing.
We will endeavor to get our show here with Los, where we can have Matt moderate the show, give my voice a break, and he can ask us. He can come up with all the Switch 2 questions, and Los and I
absolutely
we'll have to do that. We are working to get Larry from I was going to say Gamer Tag Radio, but that's not him at all. Larry from Open Forum Radio on the show, but he's been either work or he's been under the weather. So as soon as schedule allows, we'll get him. And I know I got Al after that from Retro Rents. He wants to get on. Got a lot of scheduling to do here, but we will see you again in 2 weeks, and then by then, Matt, it'll be we'll be officially into summer.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll see what that takes us. Football will then be right around the corner.
Training camps.
Fuck that.
Yep.
All right.
Bugs.
Weeds.
Oceans.
It's no big deal.